let's take it real soon. You know we got what you need, baby, so take it, move along. I said we got what you need, honey, come and groove along. Come on. Rolling on the highway, you know. Wow! Come on, and groove along. Come on. Said babe, I said babe.
We need a louder, 'cause we got the world.
Come on. Am I on? I'm on. Okay, great. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Jubilee. Thanks so much for being here this morning. All right, let's start with a little music. Whoop, let me start with a little capo. Yeah, you've got the words in your bulletin. If you want to follow along there out on the YouTube, you can go to jubileecircle.com and download the bulletin right there from the front page. 2, 3, 4. I wish you peace when the cold winds blow, warmed by the fire's glow. I wish you comfort in the lonely times, and arms to hold you when you ache inside. I wish you hope when things are going bad, kind words when times are sad. I wish you shelter from the raging winds, cooling waters at the fever's end. I wish you peace when times are hard, the light to guide you through the dark. When the storms are high and your dreams are low, I wish you the strength to let love grow. Wish you the strength to let love flow. Wish you peace when times are hard, the light to guide you through the dark. And when the storms are high and your dreams are low, wish you the strength to let love grow. Wish you the strength to let love flow. Wish you the strength to let love flow. Wish you the strength to let love flow. Oh yeah. All right. Does anybody realize that's an Eagles song? The band is like going, woo! That is not an easy song to play. Welcome, everybody. Thanks so much for being here at Jubilee Circle this morning. We are glad to have you here in the building. We are glad to have you out there watching on YouTube this morning. And we are continuing our VIA Transformativa theme of barriers be gone. All of this quarter we have been exploring how we can tear down all the barriers that we have built to love, and we can overcome our fear of what God's love truly is about, not what the ego says it is about. In a 1991 Calvin and Hobbes comic strip, everybody know Calvin and Hobbes?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Calvin asks his dad, who is seated and reading a newspaper. We all see this setup where Calvin comes to ask Dad a question that's going to rock Dad's world, and this is no different. He says, Dad, how do soldiers killing each other solve the world's problems? And the next two frames show the growing bewilderment on his father's face as he just sits there and silently ponders this amazing question. And in the last frame, Calvin is walking away saying, I think grown-ups just act like they know what they're doing. Which is, of course, true. None of us really know exactly what we're doing. We just go along with what this world says is true and what it says is right until somebody points out, somebody very kindly like Calvin points out how insane our beliefs are. How do soldiers killing each other solve the world's problem? So far it hasn't. They may create the absence of violence and conflict after a while, but soldiers killing each other has never solved anything. And it's never brought true peace anywhere in the world. Peace is not simply the absence of conflict. Peace is the ability to remain peaceful even in the midst of conflict. The peace that passes all understanding is never rattled. It is never angry. It never seeks to get even. It never seeks to win or actually solve anything. It simply seeks the truth of all of us who are caught up in the ego's counterfeit peace, and it beckons us to come out beyond all of this suffering and strife and rest in that field of unity where war isn't even a reality. It can't even exist. Ultimately, though, most of us were like Calvin's dad. We just sit there and be confused and perplexed when the inanity of the ego world is just pointed out to us. So this morning, let us instead be like Calvin and question the craziness of this world so we can become the true peacemakers who can help the whole world awaken from this crazy dream and say, oh yeah. Please rise as you're able. And as we do every morning, Sunday morning here at Jubilee Circle, we begin the same way by remembering the four elements, the air and the water and the earth and the fire. And we burn black sage as a reminder that this is a safe and a sacred time, and that you can set your intentions in this moment, your intentions for yourself, for peace within yourself, for peace within the world. And we orient ourselves in this sacred time and space by calling the four directions. I invite you to turn and face the east. Holy One, help us to take the example of the dawning of each new day, that peaceful stillness of the sun as it rises every morning over the horizon. Give us that peace, Holy One, the peace to rise each day in your holy stillness, the peace to rise each day ready to spread your light and your warmth into the world. Quarter turn to the right, and we face the south. Holy One, help us to live like the warm south winds, blowing gently across the world, bringing warmth to thaw the frozen hearts and minds around us and our own frozen heart and mind. Holy One, give us the peace that we need to refresh a tired and needing world. Quarter turn to the right, and we face the west. Holy One, as the sun sets on this day, give us the peace of that sinking sun and those rising stars. With the day nearing its end, let us reflect on the events of the day. Give us the peace we need to let go of situations that may have disturbed us or frustrated us. Give us the peace to ponder those moments where we really felt your presence. But each day, Holy One, as the day ends, let us sink into the west, where we rest peacefully, either way, in your loving embrace. Turn to the right, we face the north. Holy One, grant us the peace of the north. Grant us the quiet, the stillness we need to feel in our lives. When our lives are in turmoil, we have no peace, and we cannot hear your still small voice that calls to us. So speak peace to us from the north, Holy One, so we may speak peace to the world. And as we turn back toward the center, you'll find a bunch of people who seek peace everywhere except where it truly resides, within our own soul. So jubilance, it's your ego that keeps you looking outside of yourself when everything you need is already within. So I invite you in this safe and sacred place to go within, to discover the eternal, holy source of your soul that provides the abundance, the love, the joy, and yes, the peace that you can experience in every moment. I invite you in this moment. Breathe deeply. Feel the peace of that one breath that makes us all say, oh yeah. All right, remain standing. We got a little Young Rascals classic to start us off with this morning. Thank you, Allison, for spreading the the Young Rascals. Thank you, Allison, for spreading the sage. That was the word. All right. Okay, hey, let's sing some music. And yeah, they're making jokes. You ain't looking. I see you now. All right, we got his comedian act going. Here we go. Two, and everybody greet each other. Dance if you like to. It's a fun tune. Here we go. 2, 3, 4. All over the world, so easy to see. People everywhere just wanna be free. Listen, please, listen, that's the way it should be. Peace in the valley, people got to be free. You should see what a lovely, lovely world this would be if everyone learned to live together. Seems to me such an easy thing it should be. Why can't you and me learn to love one another? All over the world, so easy to see. People everywhere just want to be free. I can't understand it, so simple to me. People everywhere just got to be free. Takes is you to understand and to see it through. Seems to me we gotta solve it individually, and I'll do unto you what you do to me. They'll be shouting from the mountains on out to the sea. No two ways about it, people have to be free. Ask me my opinions will be, it's a natural situation for us all to be free. Oh, what a feeling just come over me. Enough to move a mountain, make a blind man see. Everybody sing it now, come on, let's go see. Peace in the valley, how we ought to be free. Or keep playing, whatever. All right, y'all may be seated. There you go.
60s.
That's it. You're going to learn another one in the sermon song, so there you go. Camille, for all of you watching out there, you maybe see it, everybody. Camille said she comes here to learn all of the classic rock songs.
Me too.
I told people a long time ago that the music we play at Jubilee is just the music on my iPad. You know, it's just the one on my iPod from way back when that tells you. Yeah, no, it was 12 years ago. So it's on his 8 tracks. It's on my cassette mixtape, right? Bob's got an iPod. All right.
Don't forget your CD.
Yeah. So now it's just on my streaming service. This is my playlist on my streaming service. I've come into the 21st century kicking and screaming, but here I am. Welcome, everybody. Again, just a little note about who we are. We are Jubilee Circle, and that means we are an inclusive, progressive, interfaith community here in Columbia, South Carolina, broadcasting around the world. We teach the timeless common wisdom of love and unity that is found in all mainstream religions and metaphysical philosophies, mysticism, and inspired secular and religious leaders throughout the ages. And we use popular music, get you very familiar with your classic rock here, teachings and weekly celebrations, educational and artistic events, other community building activities, because we're seeking to create a space for everyone to experience transformation so they can go out and be the transformation in the world. We believe that we are here to expand our souls, to find that deeper meaning in life, renew our commitment to love and peace and justice, and learn how to love wastefully and undergo a transformation from the inside out to discover how to live more fully into our higher divine self. And we also recognize we're God's good creation. We're formed in stardust and in love and joy, but we forget this. We come out into the world and we see things as separate from ourselves. That's how we perceive everything. And so we think you're over there and I'm over here. And then we start judging stuff. We start getting our little grievances on. And so we start thinking about this world like it's separate. There's the beautiful people over there. There's the ugly people over there. There's good people over there, bad people over there, generous people, stingy people, and loving people, and recalcitrant people. And we might have do we have a bulletin left for them? Or bulletin or two? Okay. Welcome, y'all. Good to see you. You look familiar. Yeah, okay. All right, yeah.
Refractory.
Yeah, welcome back.
Refractory.
Refractory. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I got another word.
What's that?
Would you think reactionary?
Reactionary?
Kind of works there too?
It could be.
Because you react rather than respond.
Right, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, it's unthinking. It's an unconscious.
Something like that.
Unconscious. There's the conscious and the unconscious. But let us remember our function here, Jubilants. It is to continually return to the home we've never left, that home of unity with one another and with the holy, and that our purpose here is to be an open channel for that love out into the world. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, a few announcements coming up next Sunday, Memorial Day weekend. So hopefully y'all will be here. If not, hey, we're on the YouTube. You can watch us wherever you may be next weekend. So be here or, or not. Well, I can't force you to do anything. Anyway. You're invited, but I'm not going to guilt anybody into anything. But next week we're gonna do things a little bit differently. We're not going to have a song in the sermon. I'm just gonna have a look. Thank you, Jess. That's a good reason. That's a good thing to laugh about. But we've been exploring all of these unlikely barriers that we build to love, and next week we're going to explore the barrier of purpose, because everybody wants to know, what's the purpose of my life? And, I was walking around the other day going, what am I doing with my life? And I'm like, I bet everybody else has that question too. So I'm going to do a little setup, and then we'll have some questions, and we're going to sort of extend our question and answer. And because we're going to talk about this, because I think this is an important thing to talk about and get your ideas of what you think purpose is. Because I'm going to give you an upside down version of what I think purpose is that hopefully maybe you've never thought about before, and give you a sort of a new sense on what your purpose is. What's your purpose? There's the big selling book, your purpose-driven life. Well, what is it really? So, he's got his opinion. We'll have ours. So we'll talk about purpose. What's my purpose? So ponder that this week. Huh? Yeah, right. Yeah, right. It's a purpose-driven life. Yeah, what am I driving toward? Yeah.
Steve Martin found out about
His special purpose, right? I knew there were going to be some jerk jokes in here. I found my special purpose. So next week, we'll find our special purpose. If that doesn't get you to tune in, I don't know what will. Coming up, some other events that we have coming up. Friday, June 10th, will be Improverts. We had a good turnout for the first return of Improverts, and it's just an improv evening, very low key, very low pressure. If you've ever wanted to try your hand at improv sketch comedy, it's just a time to come and do some improv exercises, and it's a lot of fun. And Beth leads that, so she'll be your guide for that evening. Friday, June 17th at 6:30, our Jubilee in Conversation series continues. Al Black is going to join us to talk about the Baha'i faith, and we use these conversation nights as a chance to just get to know about other faith traditions out there. So we're inviting folks in to talk about their faith tradition and learning more about them and other communities around here. Saturday, June 18th from 9 to 1, I'm going to lead a workshop called Getting Unstuck on the Spiritual Path, 6 Steps to Awaken. So if you're feeling a little stuck on the spiritual path and you wonder if you're making any progress, I'm going to give you a map. I'm going to give you a map to awaken, and of course it means something, all 6 of those letters, those are the 6 steps. We're going to hold this, since we've been renting this building on Saturdays, we're going to hold it next door in Trisha's space in the sound healing studio. So join us next door for that. Saturday, June 18th, starting at 9 until 1. We will have some light refreshments available because we don't want anybody hangry. And then Friday, June 24th, June 25th is my birthday, so I'm considering this my birthday party. At 7 o'clock on that Friday, June 24th, we're going to host a night of dynamic duos. A bunch of my favorite musicians are coming back. Brody and Kelly Porterfield, who you might know as the Water Kickers out there around in the music scene. Jeff and Kelly Gregory, who are from the band The Runout. And Ken Baldwin and Igor Ivanov. And if you have not seen Ken and Igor play like classical guitar music, you are missing it. These guys are amazing. So, yeah, no, he doesn't play flamenco. He plays just like classical guitar. No, yeah, he doesn't play that kind of. He plays a regular kind of guitar. But yeah, but they're amazing. Just I could listen to Ken and Igor all night. So, come and join us for that. That we'll have refreshments and drinks. All of this provided for a donation. And we'll take up a separate donation for the performers because we like to pay musicians around here. And of course, 10:30 is Soundy School every Sunday, and at 7:30 on Wednesdays, we have our Course in Miracles discussion group. So you're welcome to join us for that. And all of these announcements are in your bulletin, so you can take it home, post it somewhere, and join us for all of these great events that we have. June is packed. June is just full of stuff. Do you want to talk about that? Or, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, a few months ago, I gave this sermon about our innocence, and one of the things that can help us remember that we are innocent children of God, that we have not sinned, there's no reason to have any guilt. I mean, at our core, our higher divine self is completely innocent. And one of the ways that we can remember our innocence is to look at maybe a picture of ourselves as maybe a baby or like 4 or 5 years old. And I stole this idea from the Miracles Distribution Center out in California that does Course in Miracles teachings. They have on their website something they call the Wall of Innocence. And they invite people to send in childhood pictures of themselves, and they post it on the Wall of Innocence. And it's a way to remind ourselves of our true innocence, of at our depth, how we are innocent children of God. We are caught up in this ego world. But this is not really who we are. We are that innocent child of God, and we always remain that way. And so over here we've got these little bulletin board, octagonal bulletin boards over there, and we're going to post pictures. Exactly. So please bring a picture. Jess's picture is up there already, so please bring a little picture of yourself, and we'll put it up there, and we'll put names with them so we know who is who, and we can just look at that board and go, oh, look how innocent they are. So if you ever get mad with somebody in the room, walk over there and go, oh, how can I be mad at that face? Or if you're mad at yourself, go over there and go, oh, how can I be mad at that innocent little face? So so join us over there on the Wall of Innocence. And if you are out there and you want to be on the Wall of Innocence, you can always email us at Rev Candace, REVCANDAC, at jubileecircle.com. Send me your pictures, and we'll stick you up there too. All right. Did I miss anything? Oh, a lot of announcements. What's Thursday night?
Thursday night at the Robert Mills house
Oh, Thursday night at the Robert Mills house.
in Columbia, South Carolina.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
A bunch of us vegans are going to get together and have a potluck.
It's a vegan potluck
Vegan potluck.
at the Robert Mills house
We will have it at 6 o'clock.
at 6 o'clock. This Thursday?
Some of them this
This Thursday.
Thursday. Some of the most delicious food you've ever tasted.
Some of the most delicious food you ever tasted. And a bunch of vegans.
And bring a dish.
I mean, bring a dish.
With something
Okay.
in it. Bring a dish. With
Some of the
something.
most delicious vegans you've ever tasted. I mean, Keith confirms vegans taste good. All right. All right. Hear these wise and holy words. This wise and holy word.
Boy, that's hard to follow.
Some wise and holy lady.
Delicious vegans. They taste like chicken, I understand. Watermelon. Tofu.
There you go. Tofurkey. From the Jesus story, John 14:25-27. I have said these things to you while I am still with you. But the advocate, the Holy Spirit, whom the Father will send in my name, will teach you everything and remind you of all that I have said to you. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not let them be afraid. From A Course in Miracles, chapter 11. Your peace lies in its limitlessness. Limit the peace you share, and yourself, capital S self, must be unknown to you. Every altar to God is part of you, because the light he created is one with him. Would you cut off a brother from the light that is yours? You would not do so if you realize that you can darken only your own mind. As you bring him back, so will you return. That is the law of God for the protection of the wholeness of his Son. Only you can deprive yourself of anything. Do not oppose this realization, for it is truly the beginning of the dawn of light. Remember also that the denial of this simple fact takes many forms, and these you must learn to recognize and to oppose steadfastly, without exception. This is a crucial step in the reawakening. From Buddhist nun Pema Chodron, the basic message I'm trying to convey is that to the degree that each of us is dedicated to wanting there to be peace in the world, then we have to take responsibility when our own hearts and minds harden and close. We have to be brave enough to soften what is rigid, to find the soft spot and stay with it. We have to have that kind of courage and take that kind of responsibility. That's true spiritual warriorship. That's the true practice of peace.
These are wise and holy words. Thanks be to the holy. All creation is holy word. All creation speaks volumes of the holy. Hallelujah. Oh yeah, in this time of contemplation, we have to be brave enough to soften what is rigid, to find that soft spot, stay with it. Soften what is rigid. What is rigid in your own heart this morning, Jubilees? What is rigid in your own mind? Those people are messing up the world. If those people weren't around, we'd have peace. If that guy wasn't in power. If that coworker wasn't my boss. If that friend would just stop. What's rigid this morning? Where have you closed your heart to the world? I can't believe I said that. What an idiot I am. Where have you closed your heart to yourself this morning? Whatever it is you find within you that feels closed, that does not feel at peace this morning, I invite you, find that soft spot. That compassion for yourself, that compassion for those who you blame for the world being not the way you think it should be. Whether it's your personal world or the bigger world, find the soft spot. Stay there. That's where your peace will always be found. Our song this morning comes from singer and songwriter Curtis Mayfield. This song is called We Got to Have Peace, and I said it was in the 60s. Sorry, I lied. It was from 1971. From his release called Roots. All right. And this song, if you go and listen to it on YouTube, has lots of horns, but we don't have that, so. Well, Michael has that sounds like the baseball horns, the da-da-da-da-da-da. Charge.
They sound, oh, charge.
Now we're at the Fireflies. All right, here we go.
Baseball outing. Let's go to Fireflies.
2, 3, 4. We got to have peace to keep the world alive and the water cease. We got to have joy true in our hearts with a strength we can't destroy. People hear us through our voice, the world knows there's no choice. We're begging sacred children, the little ones who just don't understand. Give them a chance to breathe their young and help purify the land. People hear us through our voice, the world knows there's no choice. And the people in the neighborhood who would only if they could meet and shake another's hand, work together for the good of the land. Give us all an equal chance. It could be such a sweet romance. And the soldiers who are dead and gone, if only we could bring back one. They say we got to have peace to keep the world alive and the water cease. We got to have joy true is a native of the Philippines, and she says, all my life, I've lived in conflict, hearing gunfire at night. Fearing for my friends and family's safety was almost normal to me. Think about that. All your life, living in conflict, hearing gunfire at night. Almost normal to just lie awake and wonder if everybody's okay. To our peace-privileged Western ears, that sentence seems blissfully foreign. We are not living in a war-torn area. We are not usually fearful of gunfire, bombs, or other violence visiting our doorstep, let alone the doorsteps of friends and family. We find it hard to imagine May's situation and how she can survive in such a place. But I can tell you how May survives. She is part of a United Nations program that is dedicated to peace building. The program focuses on helping those whose neighborhoods and countries are embroiled in conflict. It helps them to understand the deeper roots of war and how it affects everyone's mental health. May says thinking about mental health and talking about it is often taboo. She said, I had to make sure I worked through my own trauma so I could help others with similar experiences. And Jubilants, that is the key to peace. Working through your own trauma so you can be a source of healing for others. Theologian Henri Nouwen calls that being a wounded healer. The great illusion of leadership, Nouwen wrote in his classic book, The Wounded Healer, is to think that someone can be led out of the desert by someone who has never been there. And that's good news for us and for all of the world, Jubilants, because there is not one person in this room, not one person watching, not one person in the world who has not been wounded in some way. Why is this news of our wounding good? Well, if we become willing to heal our own wounds and our traumas, then we too can become peace builders in this world, just like Charmaine May. We each have a gift to offer to one another, but often we think we can't do anything. We think we are powerless to end the strife and the suffering and ongoing wars in this world, but I am here to tell you the truth. We are the only ones who can end the strife and the suffering and the wars going on in this world. Why? Because it is our collective consciousness and the power of this collective consciousness that started the wars in the first place. And if that is true, if we unconsciously begin the wars around us, we have the conscious power to end them. Oh, so how do you do that, preacher? I'm interested. What do? We pursue our own total peace of mind. And that is not spiritual bypass I'm talking about. You can only pursue your own total peace of mind when you are willing to feel the pain of your own wounds and traumas and recognize the harmful patterns that they have created in our own lives, and then be willing to do the hard and often painful work of healing your own inner traumas and wounds and releasing them. And that's why I often say this work that I talk about, the work that I do within myself, is not navel-gazing. We are not talking about stuffing your feelings. But we're talking about doing your own inner work of recognizing and healing those harmful patterns within yourself, because it is the only way to bring peace not just to yourself, but to extend it out into the world. And May understands that to be a peace builder means to be willing to heal our own traumas, but it also means seeking, she says, to understand what's going on inside the minds of survivors, the military, and even rebel fighters. She says, we might not always see eye to eye, but resolving the conflicts within all of us can help resolve the conflicts around us. Resolving the conflicts within all of us, survivors, military, rebel fighters, the people who command them. That helps to resolve the conflicts around us. Hear me clearly this morning, Jubilants, especially if it is peace that you seek. Resolving the conflicts within us is the only way to resolve the conflicts outside of us. Refusing to see and bring forth the healing and warring nature of our own hearts is to limit the peace that we see around us. If we limit the peace within, then we limit what kind of peace can happen outside of us. Your peace, A Course in Miracles reminds us this morning, lies in its limitlessness. Limit the peace you share, whether it's with yourself or with others, and yourself, your capital S, higher divine self, must be unknown to you. Every altar to God is part of you because the light God created is one with you. Would you cut off a holy sibling from the light that is yours? You would not do so if you realized that you can darken only your own mind. As you bring your sibling back, so will you return. That is the law of God. That is the law of God, A Course says, for the protection of the wholeness of God's child. Oh, but how we argue. How we argue endlessly for our limitations. Who am I, you say? Who am I to bring peace to the world? I'm just one person. I can't do anything. Really? I mean, that's the limit you're going to argue for? As the Course reminds us this morning, only you can deprive yourself of anything. Thinking that you have no power to change the world, you see, is the goal of the ego's game. As long as we believe that we are powerless, then the ego is in the driver's seat, taking us everywhere we unconsciously want to go. And as long as we believe that, then we're in that ego's loop of seek but do not find. It likes to pit us against one another. It likes to point out the differences that we believe we have along the lines of politics and religion or gender or class or worldview, any other thing we do to separate ourselves. That's the essence of separation, just keeping us focused on how we're different from each other. But what about what we all share in common, Jubilants? We have a lot in common with those we prefer to not engage with in the world. We all suffer. We all love. We're all wounded. We all seek healing. We feel isolated, all of us, but all of us are out there seeking community. We feel unloved. We all want to feel loved. We all feel bound by something. And all we ever want, any of us, anywhere in the world, is freedom. Our commonalities are far more numerous than our perceived differences. And yet, we argue endlessly for our limitations. We prefer to see our suffering as somehow more important or deeper than those that we would rather dismiss as crazy or stupid or evil. Henri Nouwen tells the story of a young fugitive who sought refuge in a small village. Soldiers came looking for the boy, and they threatened to burn down the village if the villagers didn't turn the boy over. And so the community, they didn't know what to do, so they went to the local minister. And after consulting the Bible, the minister says, "It's better that one man die that the whole people be lost." And so they turned the boy over to the soldiers, and the community celebrated. The minister, though, he was sullen, and he didn't go to the celebration, and an angel came to him in the night and said, "What have you done?" And the minister said, "I gave the boy to the enemy." And the angel said, "Do you know that you have handed over the Messiah?" And the minister anxiously replied, "How could I have known?" Well, the angel replied, "If, instead of reading the Bible, you had taken the time to visit the boy and look into his eyes, you would have known." How often, Jubilants, do we look into the eyes of the fugitives around us? Those we would rather hand over to the cruelty of the ego world instead of recognizing their commonality with us. How many times have we handed over the Messiah, the potential relationships with others that could have saved and healed us, instead of looking them in the eye and seeing our own salvation and the salvation of the world? Breathe deeply. 2, 3. And the people in the neighborhood who would only, if they could, meet and shake another's hand, work together for the good of the land, give us all an equal chance. It could such a sweet romance. And the soldiers who are dead and gone, if only we could bring back one, we'd say we got to have peace. Oh, we got to have peace. Let the world know it. Peace, peace, peace. Oh, we got to have peace. People hear us through our voice. The world knows there's no choice. If I played the right chord, things would sound really good. Death row prisoner and author Jarvis Masters tells a story in his book Finding Freedom about his habit that he had every night of just turning his television on and turning the sound down because he would use the light of the television to read. But occasionally he would just yell out to the other inmates and ask them what was happening on the TV. The first time the inmate yells back, "It's the Ku Klux Klan, Jarvis," and they're yelling and complaining about how it's the blacks and the Jews who are responsible for all the problems. About half an hour later he yells, "Hey, what's happening now?" Another voice calls back, "Oh, that's the Greenpeace folks. They're demonstrating about the fact that the rivers are being polluted and the trees are being cut down and the animals are being hurt and our earth is being destroyed." Sometime later he asks again, "Hey, what's going on?" Someone says, "Oh, Jarvis, that's the U.S. Senate. And that guy who's up there now talking, he's blaming the other guys, the other side, the other political party for all the financial difficulty this country's in." And Jarvis starts laughing and he calls down, "I've learned something here tonight. Sometimes they're wearing Klan outfits. Sometimes they're wearing Greenpeace outfits. Sometimes they're wearing suits and ties. But they all have the same angry faces." The commonality, as Buddhist nun Pema Chodron reminds us, is that every single one of those people, they're suffering. And perhaps the ones suffering the most, no matter the side of the political divide they're on, they're the ones who refuse to be open, to let alone soften their hearts to those that they oppose. Chodron says the line of a poem that she read gives us a great definition for peace: softening what is rigid in our hearts. Our hearts are so rigid, she says, over the smallest things. A mosquito buzzes in our ear. Somebody cuts us off in traffic. And what happens, she says, in those moments, war breaks out. War, she says, could be smashing that little teensy-weensy mosquito. But I'm also talking, she says, about the war within the family, war at the office, war on the streets, and also war between nations, war in the world. That's because, she says, war lives inside of us. And it will express itself whenever it gets the chance. We may rage at somebody else's fundamentalism or rigidity, but we only do that because we have that same fundamentalism and rigidity. Whether you're in a Klan outfit or in a Greenpeace outfit or a suit in the U.S. Senate, fundamentalism and rigidity. That's another commonality. The step to healing the war within, though, and bringing peace to the world around us is to recognize our own penchant for war and vow to heal it any way we can. We must stop, as Chodron said, perfecting our habits of hard-heartedness. And that's what we walk around doing when we're living in the ego. We are perfecting our habits of hard-heartedness. She reminds us, though, to start from that place of compassion for ourselves. And sometimes that's the hardest. That's the hardest place to start. But as Zen masters Suzuki Roshi once said to his students, all of you are perfect just as you are, and you could use a little improvement. At our depths, jubilants, we're all perfect just as we are. But that ego, that part of us that wants to arrange the world just so it pleases us, it keeps getting in the way. We could all use a little improvement. Taking a vow to live peacefully, rooting ourselves in that peace and rooting out the sources of war within ourselves. It's the way we discover that peace that passes understanding that Jesus said he would leave with us. The Greek word for peace used here is eirene. There you go. Here's your Greek. Eirene. Irene. Doesn't that sound nice? A little bit of Irene in your heart. It connotes tranquility, harmony, safety, and security, but not just for ourselves, but among all people. And so the key to creating this peace within, so that it can manifest out in the world around us, is that vow to keep an open heart, to soften the rigid places. And the only way to keep an open heart is to realize, as the Course says, where your safety truly lies. And that is in your defenselessness. Because whenever we defend our views and our ideas about the world, we go to war. Whenever we yell at the TV, which is what I do, which is why I don't watch news programs anymore. It's like, but that's what you do! Ah! So I don't do that anymore because that makes me go to war. So I stop defending my own views. Stop defending your own ideas. Stop bringing more suffering into the world. When we can hold our views lightly, though, and realize that we become no better than what we oppose when we close our hearts, that's the moment when we can become effective peace builders. We become like Charmaine May and all the other wounded healers, bringing peace into their own hearts first and then out into the world. Jarvis Masters understands this concept. An inmate once asked him how he dealt so calmly with the guards that abused him, and he said, if I retaliate, then they go home and beat their own kids, and I don't want that to happen. If we want peace in the world, jubilants, we start by vowing to never use our minds or our hearts as weapons. We vow to find another way, a nonviolent, loving, and creative way to bring peace to ourselves and end the suffering within, which ends the suffering around us. Only you can deprive yourself of anything, a Course reminds us. And if we are feeling deprived of peace in any moment, check yourself. You're at war with something. You're defending something. You're pushing away your holy siblings. So I invite you this morning, jubilants, stop limiting yourself. Your peace is limitless, but only when it is shared with those around us. Remember, those we close our hearts to, they could be the Messiah that the Holy has sent to help us heal our own suffering and help us save the world from its suffering. So I invite you this morning, jubilants, become the peace that you seek by disarming the armies that are marching in your own head all the time. Lay down your weapons. Surrender to peace. Because the moment you do, you become a mighty force for peace in the world. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. 2, 3. And the people in the neighborhood would only, if they could, meet and shake another's hand. Work together for the good of the land. Give us all an equal chance. It could be such a sweet romance. And the soldiers who are dead and gone, if only we could bring back one, we'd say we got to have peace. Oh, we got to have peace. Let the world know. Peace, 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 peace. Oh, we got to have peace. Peace. People hear us. Through our voice, the world knows there's no choice. And the people in the neighborhood who would only, if they could, meet and shake another's hand. Work together for the good of the land. Give us all an equal chance. It could be such a sweet romance. And the soldiers who are dead and gone, if only we could bring back one, we'd say we got to have peace. Lord, we got to have peace. Let the people say it. Peace, 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 peace. Oh, we got to have peace. Everybody say, peace, peace, peace. Oh, All right. So you learned another peace song today. Anybody know that song? Anybody ever heard that song? I had never heard that song. You have? Julie, the good old hippie down there. She heard it. Curtis Mayfield, y'all. Look that one up. Hear the horns. It's a great song on YouTube. All right. Breathe deeply, everybody. We got to have peace. Keep the world alive. And that really has been the mission here at Jubilee Circle, is to try to be that place of peace. That place of peace in the world. That place of peace within your own heart. Because when we truly do find that peace that passes understanding, the peace that is not just the absence of conflict, but the peace that stays with us no matter what the conflict, that's the peace we're after. When we create that in the world, people will start asking, your grandchildren will ask you, Grandpa, Grandma, what's this thing war that used to happen? And you can tell them, oh, we were really unconscious back then. We had not awakened. You know that peace that we've been teaching you about all your lives? That's what you need to cultivate. Keep going. You'll never see war again. That's what we're working on here at Jubilee Circle. And we thank you for the support that you've given us the past couple of years that have been really tough for everybody. We're still here. Because Holy Spirit knows we've got to have peace. And we've got to have places that are creating it within our own hearts and out in the world. So thank you for your support. You can support us here. You want to pass that around? Oh, yeah. We can... We pass out these little cards from A Course in Miracles, and this one is from the workbook, lesson number 164. There is an ancient peace you carry in your heart and have not lost. There is a sense of holiness in you the thought of sin has never touched. And I'm going to read that again with a little bit of a twist. There is an ancient peace you carry in your heart and have not lost. There is a sense of holiness in you that the thought of war has never touched. That's the peace. That's the peace. And that is the peace I wish for all of us. That is the peace I wish for, that is the peace I wish for the world, for myself, for all of you. And as you go in peace on our YouTube, we're going to end for you, and we're going to have a little talk back in here. I wish you peace. I wish you the peace that passes understanding, the ability to let that peace and that love flow. And remember, as Meister Eckhart says, if the only prayer you ever say in your entire life is thank you, that is enough. Because it is that place of peace, it is that place of gratitude where war cannot enter. And so we will see y'all again next week. And again, let me remind you, you can go online to give to Jubilee Circle. You can go to jubileecircle.com. There is a link there for our PayPal and our Venmo. And you can give that way or buy a check at Post Office Box 4611, Columbia, South Carolina, 29240. Thank you for joining us out there virtually. We hope that you'll come and join us in the room sometime as well. But until then, we will see you next week. Oh, yeah.